I have been living with HIV for a little over 8 years. I am also a person who has been an ADAP consumer back in 2003. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Restrooms, if you're not familiar with the building, you can go out either end and on side hallways. Also, if your cell phone is on, can you please either put it on vibrate or turn it off just to not to interrupt anybody of our speakers. Before I continue with the program, we have a very special guest with us, and she needs to dash out because she has a meeting with the speaker in less than 20 minutes. So without further ado, I want to introduce Donna Christensen, representative from the Virgin Islands. I think for those of you who know her, there is no greater champion when it comes to the AIDS drug assistance program than Representative Christensen.
Thank you, Brandon. Good afternoon, everyone. And let me bring greetings on behalf of not just the Congressional Black Caucus, but the entire Tri-Caucus over in the House. That includes the Hispanic and the Asian Pacific American Caucus. We're so glad that this event is taking place. As an African American and as an African American woman, I know that of the 3,500 or over 3,500 people who are on waiting lists in the 13 or more states, and more being added probably as we speak, a lot of those individuals on those waiting lists are people of color, and many of them are African Americans. So the work, this gathering today, discussion, keeping this drumbeat going is critical not only to my community, but to every community across this country. So I want to thank everybody for coming. How many people here are staffers on the Senate side? Oh, great. Because we need you. We need you to help to bring the funding, the additional $110 million that we've been fighting for the last probably close to 10 years now. We're going to be continuing to work to get that funding as soon as we can. I know as a Congressional Black Caucus and a Tri-Caucus, we're trying to meet with the Office of Management and Budget as they are probably finalizing their budget for the President. We're going to start all the way back there. We will go to the Budget Committee and bring this issue at the Budget Committee meeting in March, and we'll continue through any supplemental that comes up and through the budget process and the appropriations process as we go through the year. This is a critical issue. It is so unfortunate that as we have so many advances in treatment, that so many people are being left behind. Our mission, our goal as the Tri-Caucus is to end any disparities in health access and in health care and in health status. And this is one of our biggest priorities. So I want to just assure you of that continued commitment. I want to thank the sponsors for making this event possible. I want to just encourage you to continue. Don't get discouraged. Let's continue to keep working, keep pounding the pavement, pounding on doors, doing whatever we can to keep this issue at the forefront. Because there's so many people across this country who are without medication and who need our voice to speak on their behalf. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for always including the Congressional Black Caucus and Tri-Caucus in your events. And we will continue to be your side-by-side partners in this effort. Thank you very much.
Representative Christensen was the first female physician ever elected to the Congress, so it comes as no surprise that she's always front and center on our issues. And when I say she's front and center, there's probably not a single piece of HIV-related legislation that she has not been a champion of. And as it relates to this issue, well, hopefully she's still in the room, there was a letter, a sign-on letter that was sent back earlier this year, and there were about 80-plus members of the House who asked President and Speaker Pelosi to appropriate an emergency supplemental of $126 million at that time. And Donna was probably responsible for 95 or 98% of the signatures on this letter. I mean, she literally went on the House floor from person to person getting folks to sign this letter. So we're honored to have her with us again. Moving forward, I would like to just take a minute before we proceed to recognize the sponsors of this event, because without them, we wouldn't be meeting today. They include the AIDS Institute, Merck, Tech, Rancel, Abbott, Bristol Myers Squibb, EMD Serrano, and Gilead. Today, we are honored to be joined by four very distinguished guests who will share a very different perspective on this crisis. I will not read their bios for you, since you do have them as part of your program, but just to give you an overall idea of who will be speaking today, and not necessarily in this order. Lefert, who is the Associate Director of Government Relations at the National Alliance of State and Territorial AIDS Director, NASTAD. They're the organization that really keeps us up to speed on what's happening across the country. To my right, my good friend, Archbishop Joyce Keller. She is the CEO of Aspirations, which is a nonprofit community organization in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She's also a member of the board of directors of the ADAP Advocacy Association. Amy Belmay is 29 years old from Greenville, South Carolina. She's a peer advocate in her community, a member of Positive Voices, and a coordinator of HIV 101s. And to my immediate left, Dr. Todd Wills, who is the Associate Professor of Internal Medicine, Division of Infectious Disease and International Medicine at the University of South Florida College of Medicine, and is also the Director of the Fellowship Training for that division. So thank you all for coming up here today. And I guess it begs the question, why are we here? And we're here today because we're seeking an additional $101 million for the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. Unfortunately, as NASTAD has reported, you may have seen this sheet from time to time. It keeps track of the waiting list across the country. And as of September 17th, there were 3,214 individuals in 9 states across the country who are currently trying to access medications. And being that we're in the richest country in the world, I think that's quite troublesome. It's troublesome because part of what's put us in this mess is certainly the downturn in the economy, but it's also the fact that the federal government hasn't kept pace with the demand for this program. They've appropriated money every year, but it hasn't been enough money. And that's what's causing, a big reason what's causing this lag in being able to provide services. And Donna referenced how this crisis disproportionately is impacting racial and ethnic minorities. And I want to just share with you some interesting statistics before I turn it over to Ann. And that is in some of the states where there are waiting lists, this is the percentage of ADAP clients who are from ethnic and racial and ethnic minorities. In Arkansas, 40%. In Florida, 41%. In Georgia, 58%. In Iowa, 19%. Kentucky, 27%. North Carolina, 56%. Ohio, 35%. South Carolina, 66%. So this is truly a crisis that needs to be addressed. And from our perspective, the host of this briefing, we don't care how it's done. Earlier this year, we tried to get an emergency supplemental. We supported that. A lot of our organizations in the community supported it. Unfortunately, we didn't get anywhere with it. Right now is a bill introduced in the U.S. Senate by Richard Burr, the Access ADAP Act. We can't seem to get anywhere with that. We don't care how it's done. We don't care who gets credit for it. We just want people to have access to these medications. ADAP has long been a bipartisan issue. We've been fortunate enough that it hasn't fallen victim to some of the partisan politics that we often see here in Washington, D.C. But right now, the crisis is getting worse, not better, and that's why we've asked you to come here today. So our first speaker has been a speaker with us a couple times before, and really NASTAD does an amazing job in keeping us really up to date on what's happening across the country. So with that, Ann, thank you.